Welcome in, welcome in.
Welcome everyone, and welcome to another TLA stream where we're going to be speaking about the recent chapter. So, for all those who haven't checked it out, go check it out. So, with us today, we have our shipwright, Fritz the Ditz. How are you doing, Fritz?
I'm doing wonderful, doing shipwright things, definitely today. Out working on some vehicles. Heck, I've been looking at some boats. So it's always good.
Great. And we have also with us the frontline combatant, NoChillDill. What's up, Dill?
Yo yo, how's everyone doing today?
Yeah, man. Yeah, but excited. And so
Yeah.
we have. Well, you know what? I'm going to introduce the two next guests. The first one will be obviously, as we know, the first mate dead and Kushi. So hope you're doing fine. Right now he's still muted up, but he'll be with us pretty soon. You can jump in whenever you want. And we have someone who hasn't been in quite a while, and we're very happy to see her again. 3-day trip. What's up, 3-day?
Hey guys, excited to see what everybody says about this chapter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it's a crazy chapter. Like, first of all, for everyone here, like, what would you give I would give you a grade, but I think we all have the same number, 10. But how did you guys feel about this week's chapter?
Definitely a 10 for me.
It has to be a 9 to a 9.5 at the lowest.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
nine at the lowest, 9.5 on average, but 10, 10's all around.
I won't
No,
I won't rank it, but I'll say that it in the combination with the previous one has probably been some definitely mind-dropping stuff going on here. It's like things that people have been expecting for a while and kind of theorized, and now it's just like there's the fruit. It's hanging off the tree.
yeah. For me, it's a payoff chapter. I think you said it best. It follows on the last chapter, but even it's like it connects to a lot of theories that TLA even had, with some of the stuff at the end. So it's like it's really, I feel like it's one of the most gratifying chapter in this arc. Yeah. So as we get to the spices of this chapter, what was for you guys to start it off the bigger moments? Like the big moment that you all remember. Is there
Definitely the mother flame has got to be one of the biggest.
Yeah. What was Sweetie, what was your thought when you saw the mother flame? Like, did you expect
The
to be
first
that
thing
way?
I thought of course, was the NL cover page and thinking that we had already seen it before. And for him to do that, for Oda to do that, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I won't lie to you. The moment I saw the mother flame, you know what I thought of is I want to know where Big Mom got her inspiration for her Prometheus with her Del Fruit.
Yeah, Big Mom definitely knows something.
Yeah, like it's
And
yeah,
she was an
actually,
Elbat.
yeah, and also, you know what it pushed me is her obsession in recreating Zeus and Hera. If you think about it, she loses Zeus, creates the same type of female version of Zeus. So it's like I'm even more interested on the importance of Zeus. Having a cloud you can control. It makes it even more interesting. Yeah, no, honestly, yeah. And what was your thoughts on the initials on it? Which, for those who might have forgotten, there was the symbol, the initials A and Mu on it.
Of course, thought of emu, but I saw somebody say that it could stand for Alpha and Omega, beginning and end. I like that.
Real quick,
That's an issue.
Real quick, want
Yep.
to shout out the Lonely Mage member for 12 months, a year. Really feels like One Piece is ending fast now. And also want to shout out Lord Vegeta. It has been a while, my guy, and I do miss you too. Absolutely.
Vegeta. First, appreciate the love, Lonely Mage, and yeah, Ragnar. We have to catch up pretty soon, man. Hope you're doing great.
It has been
Yeah,
a minute.
Yeah. You know what I thought of, and I kind of told you guys just before the stream started. It kind of makes me think of the remember in Alabasta when they were finding when Robin was translating the poneglyphs to Crocodile, and he wanted to know about Pluton, and all she could find was about this ruler that no one knows about, Mamudin, and it has basically Mamu has Amu inside it. So I'm wondering if basically whatever that ruler did, because I think the legend was he did something for his people that cost him his life, but brought prosperity to Alabasta. I'm wondering if this could have been like to connect back to the Mother Flame. So yeah, so that was the thought, honestly. And for anyone who I don't remember clearly about Mahmoudine, so if there's more spice on it in the chat, I would love for people to drop some spices about it. But that's the first thing I thought of, to be honest. Like it could go back from to Alabasta.
Well, when I see the Mother Flame, it's like it reminds me of like several other like entities that are in some other animes, like the Amaterasu and like Fire Force. You gotta imagine that that probably is a living force inside of there, right?
Yeah, there must be something, you know. And you know what I was also wondering is, do you guys think that it's through the Mother Flame that the Mirror Miranomi became? You know, desire to be flame, you know, it could be connected to the Mother Flame as well. I'm wondering if, you know, or if the Mera might be the remnants of what's left of the Mother Flame. That would be crazy. But yeah, but it's like, honestly, it's honestly, oh, wait, Lonely Mage, A2 Mu. Yeah, A2 Mu, that's interesting. The Lonely Mage putting some spices as always. And Mr. Bushido saying the Mother Flame was in Nell's cover. So yeah, I saw that image on Twitter, on X now, and that was an interesting one. It's the Fritz, for you so you can see. It's basically the panel where you see all those symbols where NL is just look at the walls,
Yeah.
and you see like those old sky people that he seems to be reading from. On top of it seems to be a sun that's over them, and seems to be the Mother Flame. Oh, they're dropping his spices 20 years before he even drops. If that's not,
Oh man.
it's yeah. I won't lie. I did like the whole Luffy trying to hurt Workery, which brings even more values of the course. At least Workery is extremely resistant. Yeah, it's like for those who haven't seen, he used an interesting conduit to punch Workery, which I found it's a very Luffy way to hurt him. He used his snout from his nostrils that was coming out to damage him. Fritz, in case you were wondering. Oh wait. And well, actually, yeah, and a lot of people brought up with the Mother Flame, which is interesting, is the spice. I feel like with what's it called that it might be not a name or it might be a symbol like atomic. Some people like I think Kuzolan has talked to me about being more atomic, and Sean Lucas, who can be here, actually brought that it might be stems from alchemy because I think he said Mu might connect to water. I forgot what the A is in alchemy, but that could be interesting, considering we started with this arc with summoning seals. So it could connect back to a symbol in that shape. And like you said, 3D, it does have alpha to omega. If you think of the U being the omega symbol.
The sad thing is, which Din's not talking right now, but I had sent him like 5 or 6, 7 days ago the exact panel predicting this is what the Mother Flame would look like. So, and I should have tweeted it, and it's like trending so big right now. I wished I had.
Oh man, it's always like that, and yeah, it's like
Oh, are you talking about Paradis's their levitation, their flame bubble source?
No, I was talking about the nail cover page.
Oh,
So it was
I know.
all we had was the spoilers, and I was just trying to parallel Egghead with the nail cover story.
Lonely Mage, that's the Atlantis, the Lost Empire, one of my favorite movies as a kid, man. That's referencing that right now. That's great.
Yeah. Someone brought it up to me yesterday as well. I have to rewatch it. I haven't seen it since I'm a kid, but that's interesting. Lodi Mage wrote in the chat, once again, I remind people of the crystal in Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire. The crystal was alive. It was symbiotic. Well, no, it was in a symbiotic relationship with the Atlanteans, providing power, long life, and protection. Which is interesting.
So he's saying he thinks the flame has a not just a life of their own, but it's also has intelligence of some sort, maybe.
Yeah. Kind of makes me think of
Like-
also the island on Lost in certain ways with the dreams and everything. So, I mean, if you think about what devil fruits could do, you know, it could be that even devil fruits, that energy to create devil fruit, to desire devil fruit, stems for the same thing, you know. So that's actually interesting. 'Cause for me, I would see that the muzzle flame, it has to be somewhat alive, you know, like something happened, because maybe the muzzle flame was the first thing that they tried to, try to save the muzzle flame. Something was happened to it. That's how they came across the whole creating devil fruits, you know. Because I don't think the first devil fruits was just out of kicks, you know, I want more power. It must have been, you know, for more of a protection, you know, type of situation, you know, or advancing technology. Oh no, or we're
Okay,
lacking, you know. Yeah.
How much do you think Doflamingo knows about all this? I mean, when he said move to a higher place, it kind of got me to thinking maybe that's why they took over and moved to the top of the red line, was to guarantee their own safety
Or at least
for the flood to come.
or at least to prolong their safety. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I
I
mean,
think so.
if you think about it, one of the first things he did when all of this thing came to known, so his empire was dropping down, Pika rise up the island, rise up the castle. It could be that it was always a plan, if our information is known, already rise up, because maybe he would assume the world government would just level the island. Oh, what's up, Denden?
I've still got the background noise for like 1 more minute, but you guys are absolutely, by the way, man, like absolutely fire, particularly with what Fred said about Amsterdam and yeah. But I'll be in like 2 seconds. Super busy day in the city right now, but 2 seconds.
I would
No worries,
say
man.
the best part of this chapter for me is like all the like one shots, the facial reactions, how everybody's handling this information. The world's in disbelief that he even can be truthful what he's saying, but he is like the world's most prominent, smartest scientific person on their planet. And like they have to take it to heart. Doflamingo's just sitting there having the time of his life, knowing the troubles that come.
Yeah.
The admiral of the Marines just looking scorned, like, what have I been covering up this whole time? Is kind of what he looks like. He's mad.
I
This is
kind of
why-
wonder if he knows about the mother flame or the power source.
I feel like he was kept in the dark for a long time for about almost everything.
It kind of makes you feel like whatever the Flamingo knows, it's a limited information, because we're already seen in that chapter, the Saint Carlos's sister, got her name, Saint something, she didn't even know about the term void century, which is literally what they benefited it from creating the world government after, you know. So using that time, so it kind of makes me think that what if the Flamingo's information is not world government, but it's when he was young, we know he knew about the national treasure, and I think when he did his research a bit more, he could have gotten from the other guys who indoctrinated him, you know, Treble and all the guys. Because I don't think he might have found it in a different way. Because it's interesting that he knows, you know, that much. There must have been someone that he met at one point who instilled that knowledge to him.
So you don't think he knew before he left Marie's Wall?
The thing is that I can see him finding out about the national treasure, but this seems to be knowing a lot of stuff, you know? What I could see him is maybe if he also had a book with him, you know? If he took a book from Mary Joa at the same time as finding out about the national treasure. Because you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't seem that it's a celestial dragon thing, because none of them, like, from the ones we saw, especially one of them said, what's the void century? They never even heard the term. So it could be stems that they always wondered, you know, maybe what if the flamingo got his information, that part from somewhere else?
That's weird that they didn't know that it's even called the Void Century or that pieces of information were missing from the past. Crazy.
Well, the method that's told to them is
Yeah.
that there is nothing wrong. There is no war in Bossing Say.
Exactly.
I mean,
Oh,
There's no
God.
war
like,
bossing, say.
All right,
super,
you guys
Oh.
can't fly. What do you think this is? You thought you could fly? Haha, no. And then years later, nobody could fly.
yeah, you know how Kube's been saying for like years that like Void Century might not be as far, like as long ago as it could be, or we think it is. Like when
Yeah.
you hear about, all like even the Celestial Dragons not knowing about, like when that even exists, it's completely possible. Like all of this stuff about 800 years, I heard someone talking about it the other day. It's like we've been fed it and we've been fed it and we've been fed it for all of these years, but really, like, no, like where are we getting the information from the Void Century? The
Yeah.
poneglyphs, and even then, it's like diluted through or filtered through like Robin and stuff like that. So it is all just like complete like hearsay, really, and speculation. So it's
Like Dressrosa. They thought it was a century since the Dressrosa
Like
events happened with Kyros. It was a decade.
So,
Exactly, you know?
Yeah.
If you affect someone's calendar and their memories, you can tell them whatever year it is, you know?
Yeah, but that was directly a result of
Well-
not being able to remember due to the effects of a devil fruit.
Yeah, but remember what they say about the
Yeah.
Void Century? It's a time where for 100 years, all information just disappeared. And we know that the Tontanas have information from 900 years ago, but anything 800 years has just disappeared. It could be, we assume it's just nothing happened, they just burn it, but it could be simple as, similar to Dressrosa, an ability that was used 800 years ago. And since then, they haven't been able to undo it.
Well, to be fair,
Definitely
the devil
stuff.
fruit was never used on Riku. So they didn't forget about King Riku himself. But
Yeah.
they still thought that his reign was 100 years ago.
That
Yeah.
could be an important nuance, though. It could be that everyone forgot, except for some people. Like Joy Boy might have left an apology to Poseidon because she'd forgotten about, you know. I know that sounds probably like it doesn't make sense, but like she might have not understood what the apology's about, whereas Joy Boy might have been the only one that like remembers or knows about the boy. Or like obviously he was probably before, but this truth that maybe led Lily to betray the 20 Kingdoms and stuff like that. That it probably, well, I'm not saying it probably, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me if it was erased from some people's memories, particularly when you got the 20 Kingdoms, like their alliance. What did they know that the Void Century was coming? That is, yeah, wild shit.
And also, like I always said, if you look at Nolan and Cricket, no way in hell are they 400 years apart. There's so much similarities between both.
Sorry about that.
I know, man.
And Fritz mentioned the calendar and stuff. You did too as well, Coop. Like there is a change in calendar. I've never thought this until listening to it like on the stream, but
Yep.
there is evidence to suggest that the calendar is untrustworthy. So yeah, it's very, very.
Remember what Chaka said when they found information about the past? It did not coincide with the dates, the official dates. I think he was referring to the calendars. They didn't match. And actually, it's very interesting because that's how a lot of people are able to debunk stuff from the past that were wrong. Because you could actually, even though we could alter information, nature doesn't. So when people start researching stuff like the pyramids, those kind of stuff, that's how they're able to tell about the pyramids. When exactly they disappeared at one point, when they appeared, and those kind of stuff.
I completely agree with that. Like in an abstract sense, like Oda really is pushing that message, in my opinion, anyway, with Kureha, and the fact that she lived so long naturally. Like you say, it's about nature versus not nurture, but like the chapter itself is called Icarus, right? And how for years we've been talking about the fire fugue motif, and this is it. Like nature is strong, and as soon as you start like taking power from nature and applying it to the human civilization, you might advance, but it will be your downfall, which kind of echoed with what Vegapunk said when he says he flew too close to the sun, you know, which I'd be very interested in what you guys think about what that means and stuff, because I know there's a lot of different opinions.
Yeah, so we've got guys.
Oh, my bad.
Oh yeah, go. No, go.
Shout out,
Fritz,
Mr. Bushido. I didn't know if you ever got shouted out. Definitely dropping dropping some sauce. Blackbeard will steal the eternal flame. Will he absorb that? Will he be able to retain that? Could he retain that for long? That's some crazy stuff
Well,
right there.
I mean,
that is pretty wild. We just saw Blackbeard have Devon go and touch somebody, and like we've been speculating for a while that like Devon, if she awakens her fruit or something like that, she might be able to copy a heartbeat. So if Blackbeard could maybe touch Nika or copy Nika's heartbeat, he might be able to make a Mother Flame like via copy.
no, but also think about the panel. Ace versus Blackbeard. Ace said, I'm the sun. He said, I'm the darkness. What if the darkness could, in this world, the darkness, the Elfwood could swallow the sun? AKA the Mother Flame.
Well, he also, in that fight, he absorbed a bunch of flame and was spewing it out afterwards. Like, during that fight. Like, could he absorb the eternal flame, but would he be able to retain it? That's the question.
I see.
To like
see,
life
yeah, it might,
return,
like,
digestion, and absorption through it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this like black and white manga, right? And everyone's talking. Well, not everyone, but I've seen a lot of people talk about the color of the Mother Flame, and I know a lot of people have said red and stuff like that. But I'm feeling like it's white because of the brightness it put on Saturn. But either way, it's interesting because if Blackbeard was to consume that, and you talk about whether or not he can retain it, he is darkness, and darkness does not do well against light, right? So
darkness is the absence of light.
Failed.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what for me, I've always said we need to see what really happened between the fight of Ace and Blackbeard, especially since we know most likely Haku was involved since Ace knew Haki by Zen. It's just in the time they never showed us the fight. There must have been something because it's not logical between darkness and let's say he's the sun, and look at him how he was. There was something more to it in this fight. There was something off.
Yeah.
He lost all of his hope. It was hopeless when they found him and fell down.
Like the possibilities, like you've been talking about like Zebek and Garth for a time. Now we have a Garth. Imagine if the Mother Flame inside him, like he might turn into Zebek, like you've been speculating for a while. Like that would be mad.
Yeah, Dill, you were trying to say something?
Oh, I had looked into y'all were talking about the timelines, and it's wild how the Void Century era is referred to as the Age of Heaven, but the current era that we're in is the Age of the Sea Circle, after the world's been flooded.
Yeah.
Shout out SSJ, Cody.
Yeah, and
thank you for lurking, my guy. We appreciate you.
Cody.
Yeah, big man.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard that. I said, what if basically the reason why they're trying to recreate the Mother Flame, something happened a long time ago, and what if the only way to survive the Mother Flame, they had to make it into the mirror?
I heard what you were saying.
Yeah.
You mentioned
what if the mirror is connected to it?
The Atreus situation, and I'm not sure if it's Fritz or someone was just saying a second ago about it as well. And like, I think it's definitely one of the most understated parts of One Piece that like fans and lore like addicts just don't know about. Is like that what Robin said wasn't what was on the poneglyph, but it's probably something. It's Oda and she's O'Hara and stuff like that. And she spoke about this person, Mamudin, the hero of Atreus, Mamudin, taking over the whole Alabasta. And we know how Alabasta's and Lily and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Mother Flame or some energy source was used or abused and made a flood, which resulted in this conquering of Alabasta that Robin alluded to. But we just have no real information.
What if that's why Alabasta is having that drought problem? You know, remember they need rain, is that important? But what if long time ago Alabasta wasn't that way?
Okay.
But the way to save the people, there was a lack of sun, right? What if they used the Mother Flame on it long time ago? But the drawback is it's this ever heating, eternal flame. So they need water,
Completely, dude. And we've been saying for a while, like what happened in Wano 800 years ago. The greatest masons in the world built walls that for some reason drowned in rain. They can't have been that good at masons unless that water was dramatically dropped. So yeah, completely. Mother Flame
were too good at their job.
The water from Alabasta. Yeah, they were. Yeah, exactly. We're going to build a very tight wall. No. What about the rain? No, don't worry about that. Yeah, I'm guessing the water was sucked up from Alabasta and dropped on Wano or something like that. I've seen a few people ask, where did the sea come from?
And it could explain the desert. Think about it. If let's say the Mother Flame is that thing, it could have turned like It could have an impact on why there's a desert. There's such a huge desert in Alabasta. Because they made in the filler episode so much connection that before in the desert they used to have island, villages, places, people there. It just disappeared.
And what happened with Zoro? They fell through the ground into a lower level.
Exactly.
Ignore the Alabasta, like ignore that. But
Mugiwara sub to the last arc, awesome.
yeah,
Definitely.
boy.
Shout out to Straw Hat Lucas in the chat. He's just chilling. He wishes he was here, but now he's the villain.
He's just chilling like a villain. That's true.
I have proof that Straw Hat Lucas is a villain. Like, he's literally all of the Gorosei, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, he's got more mugshots than the Gorosei. Yeah, that's the TLA.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, I'm gonna say this because Denden has heard me spit on it. I'm getting the 50% of my W. I said it a while back. I believe that long time ago, the thing that started is I think Nika was like might even start the whole marine lifestyle, and then when it didn't go the way he wanted, he basically did his own way, and he was labeled as one of the first pirates. I'm happy to finally we're getting that thing with Joy Boy. I'm waiting now for the whole marine thing with Joy Boy as well. But it's I'm happy that Spice is finding out. It made sense that it started with Joy Boy piracy.
What did y'all think about? I mean, I thought this was kind of spicy. I don't know if it'll be in the other translations, but TCB said that it was Nika was from the fables of Elbath, and I love that they used the word fable for that.
For me, it makes sense. Because if you read the Ace novel, they actually allude to a fable of giants that Garp likes, Ace talks about. They call him the content puller. A hell of a guy that becomes bigger. So I think it makes sense because we've been getting a lot of hints, especially on the side stuff, where they talk about certain stories. And then Sabo, Yamato, and Robin talk about their dreams and their flashbacks while holding a book, a certain book.
Well, it also means that Nika had to exist long before Joy Boy. And it got me to thinking, you know how some people say that the D could stand for descendants, and not exactly blood related, but akin to descendant. And Nika backwards is akin.
That's interesting. I think for me it makes sense because in the Ace novel, if you read until the end, the last thing that Deuces promised to do is write a story in the memories of Ace. So it could have been started like that, you know? They were thwarted by the world. Like, think of King Riku, what happened to him in Dressrosa. But what if people still believe in him and so start writing still his real stories secretly? You know, the Bragman books are sentiment to that because of the Nolan stories are true, were faked. And where is the Nolan story? Inside the Bragman books. So we have to come to the conclusion that maybe most Bragman books might just be people similar to Nolan. He's not a despicable person. You know, he's also sort of a legend. But, you know, propaganda. But yeah, it's like it was just a thought I've had with it. And yeah, I'm really curious about this whole fable stuff because I think we're gonna get more into it. Because this could explain why Luffy and Luffy and Roger have the same dream. What if they heard the same story as a child? And there was something about that dream where, you know, they had that story, they had the same dream from it. I mean, what did Whitebeard say to remember what Whitebeard said to Luffy? To Roger? That's a child's fantasy. What if he was being literal about it, you know? That he's heard the dream somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely childlike, probably.
Yeah.
Something only a kid, or maybe innocent like a child.
No, but what if basically there are stories like the Nolan stories that he's read? Because a lot of the Bragman books, Nami says it, you read as a child. What if one of them is a story that is a part of the Bragman books, but let's say it still connects back to Joy Boy, and only someone who would be Joy Boy or the Nika or had inherited that will, like Roger and Luffy, would think of it. And so when he said it's a child's fantasy, he just knows about it because he's heard it in a story. but he's not, he didn't get attracted by it. But there was something about that story in which, maybe that's how they inherited that will. What if maybe by reading that story, maybe it was unknowingly, it was Nika's story or something about Nika, and they were blessed with Nika's will or something like that. That was a thought. That would be interesting. Because we need to know how people like inherit certain wills, And how did Yamato inherit the will of Odin? Because what did they find? Odin's journal, his life story. So
like direct and indirect inheritance of will.
Yeah, could be that, I mean, it does make the Baratzi very interesting arc if you think about it. The whole thing of Dawn Kree was because he wanted the Zev's logbook. Like Oda has made a storyline where someone is just after one single book. And then what did he say? If I have that logbook, I would rule over paradise.
Well, what was Buggy's dream? To be able to get the map, to get the treasure?
Yeah, exactly.
He had to get that map, otherwise everything else was meaningless to him.
Yeah, so it kind of makes me think that there is this thing of knowledge is power in One Piece in a way. But what if it's literal as well? Like that's how some people even get power through
this is why the giants, right? They're more dangerous just from their lifespans than they are from sheer will or size or strength. Because I mean, if we're talking 800, 900 years ago, as long as these giants live, a grandson could hear everything that was ever done from a grandpa and passed down just like 3 generations, and they would know why and what they're sticking up for, why they believe so intently in the sun god Nika, because he's real. And I mean, that's where their danger really, really lies. Despite their size and strength, that's where they're the most dangerous. Because they have the longest lifespans, they can carry the longest amount of knowledge.
Oh yeah, that's
true.
true.
Actually, it's true. They could. There's actually been crazy fables. It's true. Sorry, go ahead, Dill. Sorry.
I was going to say that might be another reason why the ancient giants were hunted to extinction as well for their usefulness of being 3 times to 4 to even like 5 to 6 times taller than a normal giant, which is even already just as tall as any actual sizable building in the verse. Is their knowledge that they would have, because they live an even longer lifespan than normal giants.
Yeah. I mean, if my logic with that is, I think they will have like the Tontanas, information that goes over 800 years ago, and I don't think they will have like history books about 800 years ago because they're so isolated or since then, but they could also, maybe the culture is the closest to the Void Century culture, the Ancient Kingdom culture as well.
Well, the Tontanas said they had it written down. They had records before and after the Void Century.
Yep, just not during.
Yeah,
they had a void of information. That was their wording. They literally had all the way before it and after it, but nothing of it.
I'm saying, like, what if the giants, maybe not in form of information, but how their culture is, it might be the closest culture to how it was 800 years ago. Because we know the giants are isolated, so it started 800 years ago where they isolated themselves from the rest of the world.
Sorry about that again.
No worries, man.
I keep getting calls. I keep getting stuff dropped off, parts for stuff. Busy day.
It's always when you're busy that things happen to fall on your lap. No worries. Yeah, and people are spitting in the chat.
Keeper D Mugiwara, he is on one right now for sure.
Yeah.
I like what he said about the flame looking like Luffy's hair.
Yeah, I
so
saw
it
that
could
one.
be that it's white.
Yeah, and also think about it. You know what else? The Rock's ship has a similar fire on the side as well, so it could be also connected back to the Mother Flame.
I dropped my I dropped my spice about the giants, and then I immediately had to go. I was like, damn.
Yeah, man. Yeah, people have been spit on it. Basically, we're saying that they might not have like in paper, but their culture could be if, let's say, 800 years ago when everything went to shit.
There were so many cultures that only like word of mouth. Like even some of even currently in some of the most secretive like organizations you can be in, they don't put anything on pen and paper because it can be stolen. It's all word of mouth. It's all gonna be passed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, even so, the Dendens have been wiretapped. We've seen it.
Yeah,
Like-
like
I mean, if you're vexed, you probably have it in Braille because nobody else is gonna steal that.
yeah, because if you well, obviously, Fritz, you haven't seen much of Wano yet, but if you look at the people of Zou and Wano, you could see the difference with the rest of the world, how they're isolated. In Zou, it's the closing. They seem to have clothes that hasn't evolved in 800 years. And then the people of Wano, like Kinemon referring to Delphoid as magic. You know, so it could be something similar to the giants. There's certain stuff that they say that stems that old, you know, that's 800 years old. But since then, they've used propaganda to, simplify it. What if it's just a thought? What if the giants? Do you know how they say the giants are powerful and group of people, etc.? What if they're not stronger because of the physics, but it's because they seem to know more about voice centuries than a regular person, right? Maybe that knowledge is what makes them so strong, you know?
The world government has to fear them for sure, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's
But they're
like
kind of
I think it's just giants are more attached and like in touch with their will.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
like
Nords, they were conquerors, and the Vikings, they were conquerors. Like
Mhm.
we've seen this in the past, and we've seen that Oda has related the giants to the Norse and the main pillaging of like Vikings and all that. We've seen it.
Vinland Saga.
Yeah.
exactly.
I do love that
We've seen
anime.
it.
I do like the thought that maybe the giants became giants or they're bigger because they're like Vegapunk's brain. They grow with the more information they have, and that's why they're giant. It's crazy,
Honestly,
but I think
for me, the Giants, I think something happened a long time ago, and you know how the Tantas are the opposite, right? They're so naive. I'm wondering if the Giants is, you know how Halal talked about recently about Delphoid abilities. Any person with strong will or hockey, depending on the translation you take with, can alpha any Delphoid ability. What if that's connected as well? The Giants' free will, you know, want to be so free. They don't fall for the, those kind of stuff. It could be connected to it, you know.
Nobody's gonna be freer than Luffy himself, all right? He said it. He's gonna
Yeah.
be the most free,
Yeah.
all right? Debate over.
Well, that's the thing is maybe the previous user of the Sun God Nika fruit made the giants the way that they are.
Yeah.
Bro.
I was gonna go.
Made them as free as they could be.
Bro, that's
Yeah,
why they
and
get so big.
Yeah, like
That's why the elephants are so big. That's why the island whales are so big. That's why the sea kings are so big.
yeah. Like
See,
think about this, right? We've seen it. Thriller Bark, the zombies, Dressrosa, the toys. It all comes from one island. It could be the same thing for the different races. What's say one time Nika was turned into a mermaid, but such a strong free will, he doesn't become a mermaid. He becomes a fishman. So that starts the fishman lore. Same thing with the giants. It could be that basically all those different races, why they have they are variant, is because of Nika.
the
He was
fishman
a
shall
one person.
Because the will of Nika has been transposing through the lineages throughout time.
the fishman shall inherit the earth, all right? That's plain simple facts, all right? But
Yeah, man.
so back to this chapter. What like the pure savagery of the Gorosei in their desperation were ready to literally eradicate every living existing thing that they could find.
Yep.
That's crazy to me. Like I know that they was bad at it and bad for it, but dang.
This proves to me one thing: their power isn't as limitless as it is. It feels like their power is really based off image, you know, how they brand themselves. I think on paper they look scary, but I think it's a lot of bureaucracy, you know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
Celestial Dragon have more pulls than them. Because something I recently found out, Akainu is more scared of the Celestial Dragons than the Gorosei themselves. So it kind of makes me think that they need this narrative of they're the security of this world. We need this propaganda, keep people in disbelief. That's how I felt because they are really like you said, Fritz, they're really trying to. They're desperate.
But
It's kind of weird.
at the same time, like Dr. Vegapunk wasn't even willing to like put a judgment upon them. He wasn't really even willing to say that they were evil or bad themselves. And it's crazy to think because it might be one of those they believe they're a necessary evil. Like what they're doing may either be causing the world to flood or be trying to prevent it, even though that it's impossible to prevent. It's one of the two ways here, and but Vegapunk himself with his morals and like having these fail safes, like he had morals. They might have been diminished and lost in the separation of himself, but like he's there and he's still not willing to judge these guys, right? I think that's also like another crazy take.
Yeah.
I
You
think
know how
as a true man of science, he doesn't want his opinions to be known to the world. He only wants the facts to be presented as a true man of science.
yeah.
He doesn't want to give a biased take
might not
on
even
being like,
have,
oh, these
like-
people are bad because they came here and killed me. Then there's all this stuff that they did. Then it just looks like a smear trial. But if you're like, yes, I don't see them as evil. It could have been either side that killed me. I'm just putting it out to be like, hey, this is the information that I've collected through my own research that I went against the world government's direct orders to do.
Yeah,
Here's my information.
What's that, Din?
yeah, I just agree. Like I found it like super spicy what Fritz was saying then, and I was gonna say like maybe he doesn't have an opinion, but when I was listening to it, I was like, yeah, that's probably actually more accurate. Like I mean, it is an interesting character because we waited for so long, and in truth, Vegapunk is real complex because he has so many like he has all these satellites, and he said he split his brain up, but we now see that like his whole brain's in the tank and it's okay. So I definitely will be curious what that means. Like if he did lose some personality, or if he, like this whole York thing, like he seems very calm. That he knew it was going to happen, but it still happened under his watch and stuff. And I think there must be more to that because that is sus.
Yeah. Also, I always say to people, if everything in One Piece always starts 100 years, if the cycle is always like the return of everything, it could be that Vegapunk knows what's to come, and he's actually seeing the Gors say, like, you know how certain people, like, if you know something's gonna get worse and someone does something less worse, they always say like, oh, at least you prevented something. It's so bad, but you try to do your best. It could be also the reason why what Dill says about he's a scientist, but he also he sees the full picture. Like even though it's messed up, he knows that basically everyone will die, except of a select few. It could also be that because of that he can't really judge them because he knows the full casualty is gonna come.
Like he's looking at objectively, like he's a scientist.
Yeah.
All this stuff has just got me thinking, or my brain's about to like split worse up than the magnetic waves on the planet needing a log pose to figure this crap out. Like the fact that they need log poses in the magnetic field of the planet is so erratic. Like also goes in tail with like it could be flooding. Like things are completely bad with the planet. Like they're probably on the verge of it just cracking, falling apart.
Another reason for that is if every island is in a different position of where it normally was.
Yeah.
And we do have this situation where like one log pose is required and then 3. So like what Fritz is saying, like clearly the closer you get to Laftel, the more messed up this magnetic situation is, which definitely suggests like there's a core there. There's a center and things came from there and they've been spread out since or broken up since and it's messed up the magnetic field. But as you get closer, there's more magnetic fields, and that's why you need 3 log poses to navigate.
And internal log poses for specific places. Like the science there is just completely. It's like it's as much magical as it is science. Like even the fact that these guys can use Viva cards to be able to locate each other, I think it's more related to like how that works than it does with any damn science.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Like, I wonder if the Mother Flame gives off its own bearing. Like if you can make an eternal pose to something like the Mother Flame or some sort of, because like you say, there are eternal poses, so they must be connected to something.
I mean, if you think about it, the Mother Flame is just a heat of cloud, right? In the sense that heat of cloud could be its body. It could create its own body heat in a sense, since it's a flame, So there might be a
yeah.
way to actually see, like, there are different ways of, like, cats see and during the night. Certain creatures just see through echo, like bats. It could be the muzzle flame does have a sort of a frequency in a way. Maybe heat wave, in a heat wave pattern. Okay, so I'm going to give a shout out to 3-day trip, who just gifted 5 memberships, and W for her because she got JJ, Straw Hat Lucas, Will of Dreams, The Black Man Who Laughs, and Dead and Kushi.
2 of those are
and
cheating, bro.
The Black Man Who Laughs as well is dangerous in the chat with his spice, man.
Goated member of the community.
W3 Day.
Yeah, man. In-depth videos is always like, oh, can you put in this quote from the Black Man Who Laughs? And I'm like, yeah, of course, man. That's just spicy.
Yeah, and
I do have to dip out. Y'all enjoyed the cooking session.
Thank you, Dill.
Keep talking about the chapter, and remember that we see Luffy trying to punch him again in Gear 5th.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, take care.
True.
Thank you,
Oh my God.
Thank you, NoChillDill, for being an absolute legend. And there are like a couple other crazy things in this chapter. If you guys really if you look at it panel to panel, all over the world, people are having reactions, right? And I think the one reaction that probably has some of the most relevance that'll probably pop back up very soon is in Water 7. Because I've been thinking about Water 7 for a long time now, and like what was going to be relevant. Like Iceberg literally tried to design the entire city to float. It's crazy because then like they'll be one of the few survivors in this situation. Their island that they've lived on has been sinking for a long time. It's infallible proof that what's been going on for generations. But I think
like the name 7 suggests like maybe 7 generations, right? Or 7 centuries or something like that. Like there might have been a war 1.
It's I think we're gonna see Iceberg very soon, and we're gonna see Water 7 showing up on the horizon.
Yeah, and also
probably literally.
You know what? There was something in the chapter that caught my eyes, and I think we might have gotten in this chapter the reason why they called them the Mads, the scientists. So the Marines' ants' reaction to it was interesting. They called it enough with the lies and the madness, Vegapunk. What if the Mads started by predicting that outcome, and they start calling them you guys are mad, and they just took that name with it, or the world go and label them as Mads to discredit them.
Yeah, Lindbergh has quite like a Mad Hatter vibe,
Yeah. Because think about that. Even the way they are, all of them, where Queen is, a place where the flooding might not impact them. What Judge does, he literally has his island is a ship. His land is a ship.
Yeah.
I
think right. Let me cook this up. Right. If Joy Boy in this chapter is declared to be the first pirate, to me, we don't know it for sure, but it's kind of like Oda saying that this is where things began, or the story of One Piece began. And if there was a great fracturing or fragmentation of either the planet, like the land on the planet, or the people, displacement of people, stuff like that, it makes total sense to me that Oda would have these remnants that build back to when everything was in one piece. You know what I mean? So everything blows up, and then you have these factions like Mads who are using all the little bits of information that they can get, kind of like O'Hara and stuff like that. And then it all gets put back into one big piece. And that one big piece would be, essentially symbolized by when Luffy and the crew get to Laugh Tale, if they do, and blah, blah, blah. And recombining all of that. So Mads, one of their functions would have been to provide one of the pieces, like technology. O'Hara provides the knowledge, and you might get Wano that provides, say, spirituality, or like Rio and stuff like that. So I definitely think Mads are going to be revealed to play an integral part in the reformation of the world.
And I'm wondering, what if the Muzzle Flame? Sorry, I'm going back to the Muzzle Flame right now, but what if that was the whole start of the fight in Ancient Kingdom? It was about the Muzzle Flame. What if the Muzzle Flame, the people who were behind the Muzzle Flame, some of them got too greedy? You think about it. We see in our world, what happens to the countries who offer the most energy to other countries? they start dictating certain, terms. What if same thing happened 800 years ago? It started this way,
So,
Also with a bit of
what do we
sun.
think about? Yeah. I was gonna say, not have anyone talking about it. What do we think is the mother part? Like, people were talking about it when it was first ever revealed and the whole frame stuff. They were distracted by the frame flame stuff. But why the mother flame? That's a very peculiar name.
I think for me, if I think about it, it could be that the mother flame has two components. The sun component, with the flame. But what if the mother aspect is more like it has a positive impact? It blesses nature, like Mother Nature. So instead of being Mother Nature,
love.
he did a mixture of both, mother flame. It's the same time it's the same time Mother Nature and the flame aspect to Devil Fruits. The spark.
Yeah, the mother nature is spicy. Yeah. Like we're talking about recreated nature, like stealing nature's technology, and that would
Straw
make
Hat
perfect sense because
Lucas.
they're trying to mother nature.
Straw Hat Lucas in the chat, he says it's an artificial womb.
Okay, spicy. So maybe that this flame can birth the Monkey King. Can birth the one. Like one thing that we were talking about yesterday was that maybe when Luffy turned into Gear 5, that is what ignited the Mother Flame.
So
his
is the
heartbeat, the voice of all things, stuff.
so is the Mother Flame a creation, or is it something that has been captured? That's really
Tedious.
so. If it was something that was created, okay, I can get that. But if it was like something that was captured, it's like a leftover remnants of why probably devil fruits exist? Question mark.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
Kube and the guys often talk about, like Will was talking about today, like plasma, right? And like when they say about flame, like how do you make a flame? You manifest it. You can't just build one. Sort of like what Frit's saying, like where does this flame come from? Like
Says,
is it the reaction of two
bro,
things put together, A and Mu, or
I
something like
think I think Oda was like watching Waterworld and listening to the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" all at the same time while he was on like some major vibes and did what he needed to do for like the
that?
next 20 years.
Yeah.
Actually, then
That really is
just a
cool.
crazy thought. What if Nika ate the mother flame or part of it? Because his inspiration of Hanuman, right? How did Hanuman get his power? He accidentally ate the sun.
What if
That's
it's
how
what
his
if
origin
it's
story starts relating the sun.
what if it's the leftover reminiscence of like the previous Nico, the previous Joy Boy? Like
Wow.
Yeah.
You know how like they say the sun eats the moon? Like some myths talk about the sun eating the moon in the morning. It could be like the reverse, like the moon overtook the sun and consumed the mother flame, or something like this. But something that is interesting is we know that Emu didn't have this before Vegapunk. Vegapunk introduced this to them. So even if they knew of it or they had it years and years ago, they didn't have it at the time.
Yeah, the way that he talks about in the beginning of the arc refers to it in the past, so most likely this is a recreation.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, if everything's a cycle and we're seeing the beginning of the Void Century events and stuff like that, it could be we're seeing the stories unfold as it progresses. Because at this point, if
Yeah,
it's a
it definitely
cycle, yeah, I mean,
brings
it's
us
this
to the
whole
Mew
thing.
murals for sure. Like
Yeah,
the Mew murals show a little flame. They show another kind of strange, looks like a core, like a cell, positive and negative, maybe electricity as an energy source.
yeah.
So it definitely goes back.
Because if you think about One Piece, we kind of have a chicken and egg situation. A lot of the storylines, if it's a cycle, right? What started first, the Mother Flame from 800 years ago, or the Mother Flame right now? If it's a cycle, you know what I mean? It might even be
Yes.
all the time the same Mother Flame, like a loop, an endless loop, that only Nika can break.
It might be, yeah, completely. Like so with Will, we know Will interacts with fire, like fire usually represents Will burning quite quickly, or strength. Gear second gives that. We get the red hue, this loss of lifespan, and in Wano we have Fire Festival where they release their dreams up into the sky using flames like tea lights and stuff. So it definitely wouldn't surprise me if the flame, sort of as you were saying, was what like was what conjured this dream of 800 years, this weird reality and repeating cycle. And then when the flame is doused or when it's reset or something like that, that's when the curse of inherited will is broken, maybe.
Wait, Lucas, Cube, are you saying that the egg on Roger's ship housed the original Mother Flame? I mean, I think it has some sort of creature because it's an egg, but
I mean,
it could be,
the Mother
you
Flame was
know,
born out of it, right?
yeah. So it could be, yeah. That my whole thing is like basically we're getting the origin story. The reason why Luffy is such a perfect pirate is because maybe is that's how it started with Nika. The way Luffy started his piracy might be similar to Nika's started piracy, which is interesting of all things. But
Well, one thing is that like we can probably confirm now is that if Nika came before Joy Boy, wasn't a pirate. No one was a
yeah,
pirate before Joy Boy, apparently.
yeah, my whole thing. I think they might have not had pirates, but they had Marines, and I think Nika was the pirate captain that just did what he wanted, and so they labeled him a pirate the first time. That's why he has the title captain in all
The
piracy.
first one to rebel.
Yeah, first one to rebel.
Established.
Basically, think of a Garp and Smoker situation, and just think how Luffy is. And how did Luffy start his adventure? He had two choices: either Marine because of Garp, or he became a pirate because of Shanks. And what did Dragon say in the lockdown? So this is the path you chose. What if every time Nika either becomes a Marine or a pirate, because that's how his story starts all the time? Which is crazy if you think about it, Could explain what Dragon meant all those years ago.
This stuff is getting out of hand.
Yeah. But yeah, wait, I'm looking to the chat. What did you guys think about the Straw Hats versus Saturn? But that was an interesting matchup. I mean, Chopper took it for the team, you know what I mean?
It's definitely like a wild time, man. Just we waited so many years, and now all this crazy stuff happening. I feel it's pretty cool for people like Fritz who like and Lucas who started reading later. Like literally just coming straight into this off the weeklies. Yeah, ultra spicy, man. Vegapunk has definitely paid off now for me. But yeah, and you mentioned earlier what the chapter was, and Dill was like 9.5 minimum. I completely agree. It's 11 out of 10.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's interesting because I was just looking in because I just saw the glob on the manga panel of the Mother Flame, and it gives you the link of a TV show of people who basically fishes with the face of people on it, a 1990s show. It's people living under the water, which is interesting. Because I saw at one point someone was talking about the S108 plus the glob. This might refer to either being a seraphim or being sentient in a way, being alive, like it's breathing.
Yeah. I definitely think like there's going to be some sort of life force like attached to it, or like analogous to it, or something like that. Or just going to tie in some sort of like mention of lifespan or something like that. I mean, what happens if we've just seen constant issues with Luffy's lifespan? What if he runs out of life, like we've been talking about, and they have to like put the Mother Flame in him, or kind of like what Fritz was saying about Blackbeard? We could go into Luffy. Maybe that's more towards the end game then.
Yeah. Yes, I'm telling you, dude. I want to see the connection between the mirror and the Mother Flame. There's gonna have to have a connection between both.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
It's not a coincidence that the fruit of his brother that keeps coming back in the story of importance. There's a lot of great moments with Blackbeard and Ace. There's almost not as much as Luffy moment of his devil fruit, but from all other fruits, it has one of the most, and it's the flame fruit of all things. And now we have something called the Mother Flame that seems to be that important. It is connected.
Maybe that's why they wanted him gone, him dead so bad. Maybe it was more than just being Gold Roger's son. It was his being son and having that flame fruit.
The mirror, yeah. It makes sense. They needed that fruit out of circle. They needed that fruit not to be under anyone else. Having that fruit was the best thing for them.
Yeah, and we saw Emu just douse that flame, like so. Interesting.
Because if you think about it, Luffy being the sun god, he might touch the Mother Flame, right? But who else would be able to touch the Mother Flame? Sabo. What if it's more than just Luffy's fruit? The mirror is also a fruit that they have to keep under control. And that would explain why they wanted Ace as a Shishibukai. Think about it. They also asked Ace as a Shishibukai. That could be also one of the reasons, more than Roger. His fruit.
They want it under his control, their control.
Yeah, exactly. Well. He is here, the legend himself.
I'm alive.
What's up, Josh?
I'm alive.
Yo, what's up? What's the discussion?
We're talking about the recent chapter. So what was your thought on it?
Yeah, very good chapter. Very fucking good.
Yeah, so we all started by saying what was our big moment in the chapter? Like, what was the one thing like you really liked?
I think for me the end. Wake up and starting to the voice century.
Yeah.
They put the Void Century on blast for sure, didn't they?
I got to like just put this out there for Dak as well, man. Like you mentioned about the favorite scene. My favorite scene was Tonji. Everyone's freaking out. Fritz mentioned what 7 people are freaking out. Tonji, nah. Tonji's like, dude, I'm 3 foot tall and I got big stilts. Like nothing scares me. Like I've dealt with everything the world has to offer. So
says I'm the one saving them.
The same thing.
yeah.
Notice his panel, what it says. It says, feel free. Disregard the rest of
Yeah,
the feeling
exactly.
is open.
Free. Stretch.
Prolonging Longland, the freest place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The home of the Gomu or something. But yeah, like he's an absolute don. And like one thing that's interesting though is that he hasn't moved to a different like land from Longland. He stayed there even though the water's rising. And it also indicates that like it's one of the first places to flood. So we know that with the Aqua Laguna, stuff like that, Longland is very sensitive to a rise and fall in sea levels,
Definitely.
which is ultra spicy. This is what we've been talking about for a long time now.
Yeah, that's what, like, all this definitely gives the evidence, like, the places like that being affected, Water 7 being affected. There was another island, I think, I don't know if it was technically filler, or if it was just, like, kind of in between of some stuff going on early on, where there was an island that was, the dragon couldn't get back to where his nesting area was because he couldn't recognize it. Because literally it had sunk or had been engulfed in water so much that only the tip and top of it was revealed. He didn't recognize it because most of it was in the water.
There's also something interesting that I just found in the chapter. Remember when the celestial dragon are reacting? Us and the St. Carter's sister who asked what's the voice entry, and the other is yelling at Vegapunk. One of them used the word "shut this cretin's mouth," right? And as we know, cretin means stupid. And actually, I looked back in the dictionary. Back in the 1700s, it changed. But before that, cretin meant someone who was stupid because of a mental illness.
Oof.
Which I find interesting that he used that term to talk about him.
I mean, it could just be what the scans choose to translate it as.
No, because it's also that's why we have to see the official when it comes out. But it could also be very similar to in Dressrosa. Whenever a toy was trying to tell the truth, they would tell people, you have to get that toy. It has the illness. So it could be that there were stuff like that, but they just said those people have a sickness. They believe that the world is ending.
There's some weird stuff going on with the insults. Like I can't remember who pointed it out, but it's genius. Like Saturn calls everyone an insect, right? All these humans are insects. What is he? A spider. There definitely seems to be some like morons going on and stuff like that. So
Saturn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Well, he washed out the water out, right? So Flood's gonna get spiders too.
Yeah, Floods get spiders.
Even the rats.
Sure. Some spiders walk on the water, though, bro. I mean, it's dangerous. It's
That's
a dangerous
true.
topic.
Yeah.
Dude, we have to see how resistant he is to fire, Saturn. I'm pretty sure being a spider, fire has to have some sort of impact on him.
Well, it's weird because he's like kind of on fire, right? Like he's got the whole black sash, but he's the white flamey beard, and
don't worry, dude.
It is weird, though, yeah.
Just drop Usopp or Sanji on him. We'll see how he handles their fire.
I mean, Usopp was already dropped on him.
Yeah, I know, but you know Usopp. He always delivers at the wrong time. Remember with Sugar? It's gonna find a way to get the Gorosei, but not the way we're expecting.
Gotta put the fear in him, all right?
So there was something also that I found very interesting, and it's true. The S now over the muzzle flame kind of makes me think that it has to be somewhat alive, because the only other stuff that has an S in front of their thing is the seraphims.
That's what there was what Mugiwara Keeper. They had said something. What if it was the source of the seraphim's power?
Ooh, Keeper's always cooking.
Wow.
I mean, if you think about it, what if it might not, that's not how it looks like, but what if like most Delphoid users, that's how their heart becomes like their heartbeat is like a version of the mother flame, you know?
Brandon
And
Keith
you
in
had
the
to
chat.
recreate the mother flame to create the seraphims for the source.
Yeah, they do.
Love-
Obviously, the Lunarians and the Seraphim have this like flame stuff going on, right?
Yeah. That could explain where it comes from.
Would we agree
The
that like not just the Mother Flame, but the Seraphim?
connected to
Oh,
them.
sorry, 3-Day, go on.
No, I was saying the Lunarians have to be connected to the mother flame then?
Yeah, well, that I was gonna say. I think when Vegapunk talks about getting too close to the sun, maybe he's not just referring to the Mother Flame. Maybe he's talking about Seraphim and recreating Lunarians in an unnatural way as well, and instead creating Seraphim.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in. Brandon King just dropped in with a crazy spice. He says, "Yo, can't be
Time
here
Lord.
too long, but if I drop by, got a wild theory based on the new chapter. The Atom Tree is actually the Atom Tree. Ooh, that's
Man.
interesting. The Atom Tree, that's interesting. Never thought of that naming that way.
Interesting.
Actually, it could make sense, you know.
Well, we've been talking a lot about nuclear fusion, fission, stuff like that, and a lot of that comes from having the energy to split an atom. Maybe this is what Buggy needs to become a god. He just needs the energy source. I'm joking. I don't like Buggy.
What if those three trees, so tree of knowledge, the Eve tree, and the Adam tree, they do like, how can I say that in a way that's not crazy? There's something about those three, like, remember then I told you a while ago, what if basically the green blood might be connected to, you know, some sort of sap, you know, like maple syrup, but instead that's the green blood
like
and they represent
resin
Delphoid.
in Sabaody.
Yeah. Yes, their own resin.
Green.
What if each one of them have a specific component, and maybe the atom tree connects back to atomic stuff, or, you know, or even the strong stuff. Maybe the Eve tree, because of the light, affects plasma and those kind of sense, you know, laser. What if each of those trees have a specificity, you know?
Yeah, like in Lord of the Rings, you have the silver tree and the gold tree, right? And one sings the song, the other one makes the music, the other one puts the notes on. It creates the universe, and maybe that is like an atom and antimatter situation with Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
masculine.
What if basically, and that's going to be a way for the world government to make sure no one would win because they never had access to it. What if basically to be able to use perfectly the Adam tree and the Eve tree? It's like in the Bible, Adam and Eve came together in front of the tree of knowledge. What if you need the tree of knowledge as well? All three of them, and something beautiful could happen, technology-wise. Because it would be hard for them to take a piece of the tree, right, with them, burn the tree during 22 years ago, and work on a new one, you know.
Interesting, like replanting the tree of Ohara,
Yeah.
because that is older than anything in the world that we know. It's 5,000 years old.
Yeah. So you have to assume that, and it's a tree. Like there are a lot of stories where people believe that ancient trees are destroyed, but there's a sapling just underneath it. So it could be that they just made it. They grew up in Marijo as well. There's a huge garden there.
Interesting. Sad. I mean, Ohara, like, go on through.
I was just gonna say, do we think there's salt water, seawater around that mother flame that they've got to keep it under control? I saw that somewhere, but I don't remember where.
The fact that it's salt water. That is some of the spiciest stuff I've ever heard in my life. 3-Day, man, you are the happiest chef there are. Because obviously we know that, well, not even salt water, just we know that bodies of water affect devil fruit users, and like there's this will or soul inside devil fruit users, and is that what's inside the mother flame? So completely, man, that might be like sapping its power, you know.
Going
Kind of
against
like,
Mother
yeah, we had
Nature,
like
Mother Flame, like
exactly.
he was saying, Mother Nature Flame.
Yeah, much love, Brandon.
Man, this chapter has got people on the
Like,
spice for sure this week.
yeah, dude. It's hard to like, you know, so many years,
The
and it's kind
spice
of hard to process.
melange.
We've all had so many theories, like, yeah, and now there's melange falling out the sky.
He knows about the spice.
He knows. But yeah, fatty chapter.
Absolutely.
I'm
Okay, so
still
guys, I might have a round
well,
of one question for you all. What would, if you guys can choose on what Vegapunk could say now with the rest of the message? Anything. So you don't even have a theory, like, because he mentioned that, like, what would you love for him to mention just afterwards? Like, the next chapter, what the next, the message have to talk about? I'll let you all go. I'll go last.
My guess, I'll go ahead and go first. My guess is that he's about to like drop something that's way too spicy and they actually cut off the message before it gets revealed, and we'll be stuck waiting for the rest of this message for a minute. Like he's actually he's gonna have like the ultimate reveal, and it's gonna get dangled right there, and it's gone. It'll cut off, and we'll just be sitting there jaw dropped, mad, screaming at our screens. For sure.
Vegapunk can't be done yet. I mean, he ended on the first one to be called a pirate. Yeah, he's not done with the Void Sentry or Joy Boy stuff at all.
Yeah.
He can't be. And what's crazy is he called him the star of the story. The sun, the star of the story.
He too fought with a stretchy elastic body.
Yeah. So
What happened?
yeah. So I had to switch from my computer to my phone. Sorry. I hope my sound didn't go too
Okay.
crazy. Yeah. My thing is, what I want for the rest of the message is, I've already said it. He needs to bring it back to the Kuma stuff, because I think that's the only way that he's going to make people believe him. I think Kuma is too close to home. Everyone knows about Kuma. I'm sure a lot of people hated Kuma because of the propaganda, and I think that's why he needs to bring it home. You know what I mean? Like this, everything else is validated.
Is that like to absolve him
Are you
of his
sure that like
darkness?
Yeah, as well also, but also it could go much deeper. Basically, if you think about that, right now everyone doesn't believe it, right? It's too crazy to be true. But imagine if there was someone in our world where we all believe to be crazy, right? And then that person is validated, and it connects back to those stories that Vegapunk is talking about. So if you know someone who's a tyrant, and let's say he's able to, not even Kuma, he might even give some W's to the Revs and give them more, like, more promise, like they're fighting a worthy war. It'll put more of the values that the Gorsei are indeed evil, and the world government as well. Putting
yeah.
what's a word? Putting doubt in that organization. All they need is something to place that doubt, and then they will start to believe Vegapunk. Right now they're doubting Vegapunk. Kuma might be the spark.
It can't be. It can't be overstated, dude. Like the sensitivity of this message is a catalyst for the rest of the world to act, you know. So yeah, as I say, super sensitive. He could say something about the Revs and everyone would hate the Revs, or he could say something about Kuma and absolve him completely. It'd be nice if like after, just before we cut off, he was like, "Oh, and Dragon's a fraud," and then he hung up. But still, he's going to say some. It would be cool if he said something character based, but I personally think he's going to stick to more like the history. And some people have suggested we might cut away and not actually hear what he says, and he does finish. But it wouldn't surprise me if, like Fritz says, he gets cut off. So
Yeah, this has been
yeah,
like
as
the
always, Oda's
nicest.
got like fucking punch.
It has been the nicest, well polite, and well spoken manifesto ever.
That's for sure. No hate or anything, not even judging his.
Yeah, but this is why I will go even deeper. I think all of this has already happened more than once, and Vegapunk and maybe the other Mads saw it by just studying nature itself. Maybe Clover as well. This would explain how Madame Shirley was able to predict what Luffy's gonna do at the end of his adventure. What if it's muscle memory? She's accessing something that has yet to happen. So yes, in this timeline it is, but it has already happened in a different time. You know what I mean? It's like if the Flash was be able to see through future sight because of his Speed Force. You know what I mean? Like, is it really predicting if it's going to happen? You know what I mean? Like that's the thin line of this whole thing. It could connect back to this.
That is spicy.
Yeah.
Like
Could
the
also
observation isn't like we spoke about this a while back with Charlie, right? Maybe she wasn't seeing Luffy in the prophecy. She was just seeing the silhouette of Joy Boy or the Joy Boy character,
Yeah.
and maybe that's how observation works. It's happening to the checkered fate.
Let's say think of Usopp. What if the reason why Usopp, some of his life seems to happen is he's a bit like Deadpool for some time. He's seeing stuff that he's not supposed to, but he's connected that as stories. And think about that. What are stories? Stories or have yet to happen? You can call them lies. Let's say if Luffy says that I'm going to defeat, I'm the one who is going to take out Kaido, and people tell him lies, but he said it in Alabasta. But if he said it in Egghead, I know who defeated Kaido, people will believe him because it already happened. It could be something of Usopp. He's just connected to it much early on, and we've got that with a lot of people. What if Katakuri say thing with Future Sight? What if Luffy grabbing the lightning in Gear 5 is because he's for a brief instance he's connected to another cycle and knows he can do it because he's already done it. If everything is the same cycle, it's a loop, but they keep forgetting. In that sense, if everything's the same cycle, it means the dominoes will fall in similar ways, meaning that it's not that hard to predict stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like this whole checkered fate thing. Like you can guarantee this person's going to meet this person because I just got some weird way of connecting all this. They might make a lattice of frequencies, which is the voicable things, and that's how connections can, like the Denden Mushi thing. There's a reason why the channel's called Denden Kushi, right? The description, I'm not sure if it's changed, but it used to say communicating content over long distances or something like that. And like Denden Mushis are pretty nuts. They can communicate across the whole entire planet, video, sound, and they can change form, like life return, stuff like that. So there definitely seems to be this like widespread network that can affect what like things seem to be like we know about the checkered fate stuff, right? It seems to be checkered fate.
Yeah, you know what? It kind of makes you think that there must be some sort of receiver, something that transmit the Denden Mushis, like an HQ somewhere, maybe in Marijoa, because it does not make sense how it everywhere. Like there must be a tower,
I think, like,
a network. Yeah.
Because we know that like this whole drum stuff, right? Like this SBS. I'm not sure if people remember what SBS is, but there's that SBS that shows an X-ray of Apu. That is so spicy, dude. Like his heart, it shows all of his body parts and what they all are as instruments, and his heart is a drum. So if all these hearts are drums, they give off beats, and then it leads us to like Brook doesn't have a heart, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, and also it kind of makes you think of what it connects back to the ancient weapons, because what I've already brought up, Zoan being connected to Poseidon, Pluton being Paramecius, and Logos as being what's called Uranus in a way, and it goes from sea, land to the sky. Yo, Josh, you have a weird sound. Yeah, can you just mute up while you're not talking?
It's all good, brother.
Harry said Nick Mason is Nika.
Yeah, and if you think about it, every time they talk about a Zoan's world, they talk about a voice. And what does Hiroshi can do? She can use her voice to control the ancient weapon. So what if basically, and the Denmushis have naturally seashells, right? So what if basically the Denmushi might connect to one of the two other, could connect to what Poseidon could do? Release voices, and it's a seashell. So maybe there's some like natural like objects or like seashells in this world, like entities that are basically based off the other two ancient weapons. Maybe
They do
ships.
say like if you listen to a conch, right? Like if you listen to a big enough seashell, then you can hear the sea, which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting. But
So what
it's
if
always
what if
weirded me out that Frankie said you can make one in like 10 minutes. Like so strange.
what if Pluton is the inspiration of ships in the world of One Piece? If the ancient weapons are that old, Pluton travels
I
all everywhere.
completely agree. I think it's the first. I think it was Frankie's ancestors. I think it was the first ever combined like cyborg, and the cyborg element will be the mixture of a kabouterman and a ship, and it'll be the first ever like combination of soul into a ship. And you know, like we know that Joy Boy's the first pirate. Maybe he had the first pirate ship. Maybe it was the Oro Jackson, but whoa there. Don't get too spicy.
Yeah, I could see something similar to that, honestly.
We're gonna have to read
I-
some of these comments, man. It's just scorching hot.
Uh,
Like,
If you want, we do a round of answering the questions. Put them up.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Run through the comments. I'll run through some questions and let's start cooking again.
Let me check because I'm on my phone. Okay.
We've got Ramsey in the kitchen. We got Bourdain. We got all the chefs cooking up the whole cake.
So that's interesting.
Joy Boy
Brandon
with the
King is
power.
asking. Brandon King is asking a question to us. Actually, some people are expecting that we get an Ancient Kingdom flashback next chapter. I highly doubt it, but thoughts, TLA. Honestly, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, at the same time, the pace is just moving that quick. Like, if I said to you next week, do you think Oda's going to reveal that the world's going to flood? No one would be like, yeah. That you know, think it's at the very last stages. So it could very well be like the start of something. On that note, it's worth bringing up. For those who don't know and those who do know, Elbath is coming in November, which gives us, I think it's 5 or 6 months, right, in between them times. November's the 11th month, so I think that's 6 months, which means we've got a lot of stuff to cover, unless Oda just keeps taking these breaks, man.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind a flashback, but I think as much time they spent off of Egghead and then now focusing everything on Egghead, I think they need to escape Egghead for sure, guaranteed. Then flashback.
Yeah.
They need to go ahead and get off
Harry,
Egghead Island.
I'm not sure if
Will
you're
we
still in
get
the chat. You are
to
posting
see?
stuff about Roger's crew and the flooding.
If they escape, will we still get to see the rest of his speech? That's what I'm worried about.
Ooh.
I don't think we'll
I
get.
completely yes.
I think it'll finish before in all that time. I think we're still good.
I do believe that if there's some stuff that the Straw Hats don't know about yet, or us we don't know about it, we might not hear that part, but it'll be like we'll hear like 90% of it. Because don't forget, during that 1 week, they skipped over what the Straw Hats learned. It could be that they learned stuff, even about the rocks, maybe, and we just don't know about it.
Yes.
Because I always find it interesting. We don't know what happened to Kaido Big Mom. 1 week jumps over, and then we're getting a dump lore on Vegapunk, God Valley, Garp, Kuma, and all of that. It could be that it started in that 1 week.
Yeah, Dora, and that's what I'm sort of talking about is the like the inertia between the two arcs. And it wouldn't surprise me if like 3 days said it's going to like get cut away and stuff like that. I think one thing to focus on, Coffee, myself, Dex were talking about this yesterday, is the flashbacks and the locations we've seen they seem very relevant. Water 7, Long Ring Longland, Jaya, these seem like locations that Joy Boy has either been to either in order, or maybe not in order, maybe they're just all scattered locations that Joy Boy is connected to. But they do show Hachinosu twice, which is interesting. But as I say, if it is the order of Joy Boy's journey, he might have been to Hachinosu twice. It is the pirate crown. So I think the flashbacks are important, but they might serve more another purpose, not just reactions. They might be giving us windows into the old world or what happened.
Actually, it's in Wano or Nagashima that there's that like those two swords, right? That crosses one another, right?
Which sword?
Yeah,
The giant swords.
he's talking about the massive one that's in the ground.
Yeah, just one.
Okay, just one. Okay. Oh yeah, now I see it. Yeah, because I've always wondered where that sword that it could connect back to Joy Boy. It's such a big sword. I
Well,
forgot which because
choosing.
of Hashinosu of the Skull Island. I mix up always the both because they Onigashima and both Hashinosu have a skull on the island. That's why. So I was trying to be sure not to mistake that. Appreciate it, guys. Oh, the lot is something not very smart. People were gonna clown me for it. So I was gonna say that if it was
well,
if it
just so
was
you
indeed
know.
two swords, yeah.
I was going to say, just so chat knows, Toki is Nastro's daughter. Anyway.
Yeah, guys, I'm saying, dude, I'm happy then, because the first time I said it, I said, dude, I don't know why. It just makes sense. That's why she was never an old Wano, because they already had
And then
old Wano.
someone commented on my video saying, don't you think Nastro looks like Kiyoshiro? Or they actually said, looks like Kuina's dad. And I was like, oh my god, like Toki, Kuina. Oh, dude, Toki is Nastro's daughter, man. And Joy Boy, I think, is the one that sent him through time to protect him. Because, anyway, that's a whole nother story. But Burning Horse, Burning Shogun that we saw in Wano, Orochi, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, but, again, I said also explain something why Toki was the only one of her tribe. Because maybe all the people from that tribe moved to Marijoa. And he's like
well,
finance.
I think personally, I think they were killed.
And they used to call Wano the city, the land of gold. And what is Nozuro's job? He's finance, of all things. And now it's lacking of gold.
I see.
What if it's because the family behind the gold aspect? Like, what if the Nozuro's family, the Amaraki, if he's Amaraki, what if they're the reason why there was so much gold in Shandora? And they brought that that knowledge, because don't forget, like it would make sense. One way for the Sasuran to do their thing, they have money. What if Nozuro's recruit being a Gorosei was important for that for them to do all of it? You can have Saturn's inventions without the money that maybe Nozuro brings in. So that's why I think it could be interesting if they're indeed related.
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna have to mute up for a minute. I got to eat real quick, but I'll jump back on.
Yeah, and I'm gonna dip off.
Thank you for stopping by, Josh.
Okay, Josh.
We appreciate you.
See you shortly, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to an adventure. Bye, guys.
Okay. Good luck claiming the One Piece.
All right. So where are
we at? Yeah, I was good.
Where are we at, Kube?
So yeah, so listen, I'm gonna look at a bit more. Yeah, I told Dexter because I know he wanted to hop on so a bit quickly, because yeah, I'm just looking at some of the questions. But if that's if that's all, we could most likely end it pretty soon, And for all those, we might switch it up to a VC talk on the TLA Discord, if those are really game, to do more chatting about it.
Yeah, anybody wants to come and chat and get their 2 cents in on, definitely welcome.
Yeah, I'll ask Srida, can you drop the link of our Discord as usual? So like this for those, and for those who are always here and they're not on the Discord, shame on you. But for those who just happened to jump in today, to join our Discord, it will most likely be after this stream.
Welcome in, Dex.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. So we've had a long discussion about like our views on this chapter, the things taking place in it, the places that they're paneling in this chapter and their relevance. Just what are some of your views and takes on this chapter?
I love this chapter, man. I really like seeing the mother flame and seeing that it was an actual flame was a big win for me, because I really hated when the mother flame thing got up and around. Although that's just me.
Lots of speculation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was a lot of speculation about it being a spacecraft and all of that, which I mean could have worked, but I mean, I like this. I feel like it's a little bit of a win. And then just seeing all of the reactions, seeing what's his name, the guy on the stilts, Tanjit, that was like like because he's already been dealing with rising tides for like all his life, and now he's hearing that the fucking whole world is gonna flood. So I
Yeah,
mean,
he's ready for it.
yeah, he's got them stilts ready
Some big ass stilts.
for real. Yeah. Uh, did you have any interesting takes on the chapter throughout the stream? Sorry, I'm been so late. I had some stuff to get
Well,
done.
I mentioned myself, like it was kind of crazy to see the desperation of the Gorosei and like their
Mm,
immediate like choice of brutality to just do anything they could to stop it, eradicate anybody who hears. But this is already going across the world, and they said specifically that they will deal with the ramifications later. But like, how?
yeah, that was what. Yeah, I gotta give that to you. Yeah, that was really crazy. I think that's to me like that's one of the things where the point we've gotten to in One Piece now, things are always so intense that you kind of tend to like notice when you get these kind of more downbeat moments, like seeing Tanjiro on his stilts in one panel. Like for me, that sticks a little bit more. And I love the story there, and it's picking its pace up, and it's going really fast, and we're seeing all of this interesting lore stuff. But I think sometimes those like nostalgic moments, they kind of catch me, and yeah, but seeing the Gorosei panic like that was really interesting. Also interesting to see them show that kind of level of communication with each other. Like it was kind of hard for me to figure out who was talking. It's almost as if it's a hive mind speaking with itself in some sort of sense. Because we don't see who's sending out the thoughts in some of the panels.
Like, yeah, the ultimate third person.
Yeah, really kind of. Maybe it's the narrator. I mean, probably not, but
So you're saying it's Usopp, and I'm just kidding.
yeah,
You know, that's what most
it's
people think
Usopp.
the narrator is. I mean, it's
It
a
could
fun
be,
fact
yeah. Hmm?
because I don't know if you know that, Fritz, but people clocked it that the narrator in the anime never talks in present time. Always talks about the present or the
Yeah,
future or the
but
past,
I
which is
think
interesting.
the narrator can be its own entity, bro. All right, I don't want to like put that on Usopp, bro, but
I mean, at best, if it's gonna connect back to Usopp, at best, I think it's someone who's reading the stories years after it happened, and it's
Yeah,
Usopp
that
who wrote the actual stories. I think it would be simple
yeah,
as that.
that would be my guess too. Like if the narrator were to be Usopp, it would be like a book he wrote or him telling the story to his grandchildren or something like that when he's really old
after
and they
he's like
don't believe him or something.
after they've like he's reached Dark King Rayleigh's age or something.
Yeah, yeah, and he's sitting with his grandchildren and like telling the story of how he traveled with Joy Boy or the coming of Joy Boy and all of that, and how they found the One Piece, and that his grandchildren don't believe him and think it's a lie.
It's time for your nap, Grandpa.
Yeah, I think you're going a little bit crazy.
I swear I was there.
That would be hilarious.
No, it would be so like saddening. Come on.
Yeah, it would be a bit weird, but I mean, I could see it work. I think I could make it work.
Yeah.
For
I
sure.
like
And
seeing
funny,
the celestial dragons just like mad and like even some of them like not even knowing like we talked about this earlier, not even knowing what the void sentry was, questioning themselves like
Hmm.
they're supposed to be above
Yeah.
all, supposed to be the highest elites, right? And then some of them still don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually sorry. That's actually one of the things I find most interesting is like now we have a somewhat confirmation that the celestial dragons are actually just, you know, living the good life without even knowing why. Like they don't have any idea of what was committed in the past, probably. I mean, except for the Gorosei and maybe the God's Knights too. I don't know. We'll see. But it
I
seems
don't
like the
know.
ordinary celestial dragons
I
have
would
no
say the God
idea.
Knights. I think there might be values to the God Knights because of Garling. The stuff he said to Mjolnir, right? How it's like you cannot let this weak. It's an attack to our honor, not to attack
Mm,
us as a dragon, but the image. What you do, you represent us. You deserve to die for that. When someone
yeah.
like that be ridiculed by his son, the Shanks, doing what he does, stop the Marine War, and it kind of makes me think that when Warcry got scared about a newspaper, I don't think it's just emo. I think it's most likely people in Marijoa are in the newspaper is blocked, you know, and maybe from time to time, and it makes sense because when the newspaper of Luffy's bounty came out, it was a newspaper of the event of the Reverie, and what happened to Reverie? The Cecil Dragons were there. What if they asked for newspapers to know what exactly happened because they were not getting clear answers, and then Warcry
Yeah.
panicked. It could
Just
explain why he panicked.
just another set of pawns in a long scheme.
Yeah, because it could be
That's
that they could be more
interesting.
than just emo. Yeah, all of them. Basically, since they're so isolated, they never see. And even Gloriosa says it in Amazon Lily. They're so isolated that only Gloriosa and Hancock read the newspaper because they're the one who goes out of the island. The others never leave, so they don't read newspaper. They don't care about the rest of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and Amazon Lily obviously has some sort of connection to Emu or someone like that at the
Hmm.
top there. Like there's definitely some connection with Lily and Emu and Amazon
Yeah.
Lily and the name and all of that. So yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And then people say, well, so they're gonna do go out, but true, but think about it. They have a whole guard system. And the one time that someone lost all of his guards is Mio's guard. What happens afterwards? He has a change of
Mm,
heart.
yeah,
He mourns for the stuff that happened to some of the people for some reason.
yeah.
What if
I mean,
so yeah, it's like
this is like a really out there thought I just had, but like maybe it's kind of like the whole chemtrails thing. But the air they breathe at Marijoa is some shit that makes them like really dumb and have no empathy, and that's also why like they have to wear the spacesuits kind of thing when they descend, so they don't get that sort of empathy.
They have
Because I think
clarity.
yeah, because Mjosgard's helmet broke when he had that change of heart,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
so
true.
I mean, it is a really reach kind of out there the tinfoil hat idea, but I think there could maybe be some sort of chemtrail shit in the air they breathe.
Well, I had some idea. What if they basically, and it could be interesting. Imagine, and it fits what you're saying. But I said they never left Marijoa, right? Until Mjosgard realized something, right, and could go. Mostly homing, maybe his helmet broke. Same thing. What if they told them they won't survive without the helmet? Because think about that. We know they don't need helmet. If you're born Celestial Dragon, you don't need a helmet to live because of Shanks and the Flamingo and Corazon. They're
Mm,
living without it. They could be, yeah, like either there's the air itself or they told them. And you know, in One Piece, if someone believed in something, it actually could happen to them. What if they
yeah,
told them? And then when Mjosgard lost his helmet, he always thought that he would die, and instead he didn't die, but he started to age because maybe he believed in it for a brief instance. And then realized, wait a minute, maybe something's off. And you know, start to be a bit see through the BS then, you know, when they say stuff.
Hmm.
yeah,
I do like your idea because I think it is connected. I think either there's something in the air or they told them something's in the air, so they believe it.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely an interesting twist to tying like the fact that if you dream for something and you like really believe it, it can come to be in the One Piece. I mean, of course, in the real world too, but in the One Piece universe, it can manifest into something physical. And like I think it's interesting to try and weave that thing in the other direction where someone is using it as a bad thing and not like, oh, this is a dream I want to pursue. I want to manifest this dream. I want to manifest this reality. But the reality they're manifesting is actually a bad one.
Yeah. No, honestly, yeah. It could be something similar to that. So I'm gonna read before we, we're soon gonna end the stream. So I'm gonna read some of the chat. So my bro Joy Boy just hopped in. What's up, man? So got a W because he called the muzzle flame akin to nuclear energy, which is interesting. And I'm
True.
wondering if a nuclear fallout happened during the void century, could explain how the weird races of the world came to be. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm still kind of on the Buggy has a clownfish nose thing.
That's that's a good one.
He says, "Leave my boy
Yeah, I
alone."
mean,
Coming at my
yeah.
boy all wrong.
And Keeper de Mugiwara says, I think the first 20 attack Nation Kingdom was triggered by the first 20 thinking it's okay to mistreat beings who are different from them fishmen. What if I have a more deeper thing. I think it was people maybe who had bias towards them, but it kind of makes me think it could be similar to Dressrosa or with Dressrosa or Alabasta in the same way. They were made to believe, because I find it interesting that the same year that there are giant attacks, the same year that the fishmen go the last time to the reverie, and Jinbei also says that's the year where basically hostility towards the fishmen increase expandably or just started, something like that. It could be connected, people who already have a bias, and the Gores say when they were starting the stuff, they create fake narrative, just like the flamingo, just like crocodile. Having the people then push themselves to dethrone their own kings. Maybe that's how it started with the 20 kingdoms. They were maybe misled to believe because they have bias.
That could be, yeah.
I will agree. Roger did. He probably would know, and I've known everything that was going to happen to come. And it's like he knew he was too soon. He knew others were too soon. But yeah, he definitely believed in getting people on ships for sure.
Yeah, it actually makes sense for Roger.
And that's an interesting thing in regards to learning that Joy Boy was the first pirate. I know we don't really know the full meaning of that yet, but Roger was the one who sent all of these people out to do stuff like pursuing their dreams as pirates. And Joy Boy was the first pirate, and Roger obviously had some of his will.
What if in this storyline, it's the opposite? Roger doesn't do the speech, Joy Boy does. I mean, think about it. If he's the first pirate, right, and they say it's the golden age of piracy with Roger, what if the original storyline, Joy Boy is the one, or an ally of Joy Boy with a similar speech? Roger usurped it. He basically changes the roles.
That would be some of a plot twist.
Yeah, because think about it. If Joy Boy basically making that speech is meaning that he failed, right? Roger, by doing that, he removes him from that role. So it could be like the piracy age already started before the Joy Boy era started with Luffy. So it could be, similar to that, that could be the twist. Because you're right, that speech most likely he had to know about the flooding and everything, because a lot of people would be on ships, actually.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder, like, Roger must have known that the flooding were coming too, and that could have been a part of his, except of course for like getting the actual person out there. But if it is a sort of prophecy that Luffy were to like kind of, I don't know if it is, but not Luffy, someone were to inherit the power of Joy Boy and Nika. Like the rest of the information, like the world flooding, might still have influenced him in his pursuit of sending people out to the seas.
I can see that.
No.
Oh, I can really see that. That would be an interesting plot, actually, using that knowledge of it. Because think about going people into sea, seeing the rest of the world, and think about that. He was in one of the 4 blues, right? What if back then, not that like 22, not that many people, I mean, people travels to the Grand Line, but it's treacherous, right? He had to, but we know that when you go through the reverse mountain, everything becomes weird and form of islands. What if he wanted the people maybe already started over there, but not yet to the 4 blues? That could explain why the 4 blues are so unique, are so normal, so plain. It could be that whatever happened a long time ago hasn't reached the 4 blues yet.
That could be, yeah. I mean, this is like no, never mind. I was thinking in regards to the whole like if the water levels are different in regards to the 4 blues and the Grand Line, but no, we have the calm belt in between.
Just sitting there, calm as hell.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Zeph knows something about the flooding. I find it interesting that his livelihood and his profession is sailing away all the time. The Brache.
Din in the chat here. What's up?
Yeah, hello,
Dun, dun,
dude. Sorry, I'm giving up on the Bluetooth headphones. I'm just gonna hold the phone to my face like a caveman. Where are we
No
at?
worries. I was
Well,
about to.
Yeah, we are near the
Yeah.
end. I've got some stuff coming up. I gotta get to soon.
Thank you for streaming for us today. It's been an absolute, like, there's a lot of spices, as Kube says.
Yeah.
I think we cooked hardcore today, and Cube was saying for people who want to jump into the VC afterwards, be able to maybe get your thoughts in, get your thoughts out. This is totally welcome. That's what we do here. That's what we're for. So.
Yeah, some post-stream clarity.
Yes.
That's what you need.
With that, shall we sign off?
Yep, we're just gonna hop off, guys. It was a crazy chapter. Yep, Fritz?
I'm Fritz Stitz, shipwright of the Last Ark. I want to thank you. I want to pass it on.
I've been Kube of the Red Sea, and I've been spitting about the Mother Flame more. Check me out on TLA in the server, and keep an eye out for these new VTuber assets that I've got. You're going to see some red cubes talking and blinking and moving around. So
That would actually be fire right now. I would love that.
Definitely on the list.
It's on the pipeline, so yeah, obviously. I'm Cube/Did and Kushi at the same time. I'm 2 people. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, it was a fire stream. So for all those who kind of saw it, where the Saturday streams are going to be coming back, and it'll be a bit more different. So keep an eye out. You know, we work on some crazy stuff, and yeah. Dexter,
some crazy
where can
stuff,
people
man.
find you?
Well, you can find me on some of Dinden's videos I work on, and you can find me in various Discords too, if you manage to find me on the VC. And we'll probably have a video dropping later too on Dinden's channel that I've been working on.
Yeah, today.
See that?
Very soon.
Yeah. In a couple hours,
It's a
go
video
check that
about
out.
edited by Dex, edited by Coffee Black, and it's a video about the Void Sentry, where each of the Gorosei come from, their motives. So yeah, it's pretty spicy. It's a big one.
And the wonderful, wonderful 3-day, if you were still here.
I am 3D Cube, and love the stream and all your ideas. Great. Everybody was really spicy.
Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.